Good.
Amanda, you look confused.
Because there's like 8 billion things popping up asking you to do an AI version of the meeting. It's like, let's see. There we go. Good afternoon. We are not expecting Dawn, Ruthier, and Renita had come up.
So did you say Josh also, or are we?
Dawn and Renita.
Okay, so we are, as far as we know, expecting Josh.
Yes. Josh and Ryan both.
And who?
Ryan Baker.
Oh, right. I was counting wrong.
Can I put it on record now that I will not be at the attendance of the July 23rd meeting?
Noted. Thank you.
I'll be a little busy that week.
Oh, come on, Tracy.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
I ran
I'm already-
the damn thing for 10 years.
Huh? What?
I ran the damn thing for 10 years. I know what it's all about.
Ugh, God. You want to run it again, Carol?
No, and I did it for free.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I
Well,
lived
you're
in the park.
you're a saint for
I
doing
lived
that for
in the park
this for free.
2.5 days.
Yeah.
Slept under the trailers.
Well, I usually have to take over. I take over the gazebo and I have to kick people out and I'm like, it's my house for the weekend. Sorry.
When I used to run History Expo at the Tonbridge Fairgrounds, I would camp by the river for the whole week. And I would basically sleep like 4 hours a night. And other than that,
Yeah.
I'd be out somewhere in the fairgrounds.
Yeah, and when you get there, like I get there at like 5:30 on Friday morning, and I've already put in like 78 hours by then, never mind the next 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, the main reason that we stayed there was to protect all the sound equipment.
Yeah, Ezra does that now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did it then too.
Yep.
He's been there a long time.
Yeah.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
We are at quorum with everyone we are expecting. So I'm going to call this meeting to order at 4:33. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Fairly light agenda today. First of all, are there any adjustments to the agenda? To add change? Seeing and hearing none. I would open it up to public comment for anyone who would like to address something that is not
Chud.
already on the agenda. Hello?
Hello, how are you today, ma'am?
Yes, good afternoon. Hi. Would you like to address the committee?
How are you?
I am good. Can I help you?
How are you?
Is there some?
Excuse
something
me,
you-
your microphone, it's like a little bit lagging and I can't hear it.
Okay.
What'd you say, ma'am?
Is there something you would like to address the committee?
Excuse me, what?
Is everyone else able to hear me okay?
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Is there something, I guess this is my last chance. Is there something you'd like to address the committee about?
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Please go ahead.
Uh, uh, never mind, never mind.
Thank you. And they have left. Carol, did you get the name? If we
Yes.
need to record it for the record? Okay, thank you.
Plus, this is being recorded, so.
Thank you. All right, yep, they've officially definitely left. Okay. So we will move on from public comment to approval of minutes from the previous meeting. Is there a motion to approve those minutes? All right, everyone jump
So
over.
moved. So moved.
Thank you, Brian. Have a second.
Seconded.
Thank you. Are there any adjustments, changes, additions needed with minutes? All right. None. All in favor of approving the minutes, please say
Aye.
Aye.
aye. All right. Any opposed? All right. Minutes have been approved. Thank you very much.
It is true that your microphone is a little in and out.
Okay, thank you. I'm at the co-op, if it's legal to do this meeting from Montpelier. I have meetings there this afternoon. If you have, please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any trouble hearing or seeing me at any time. It might be the internet. All right, one more member of the public entering. Oh, wow.
The same.
Oh.
My guess is it's the.
It could be.
Hello.
Good afternoon. We are moving to the first item on our agenda, which is approval of state file tax.
We've lost you completely, Amanda.
Yeah, Amanda, can you wait a second, please?
I don't think that's a real person. Just
Oh, it's coming out.
Hold on one second, please. Sorry, guys. Okay. All right. How is the internet now? You able to hear me okay?
Seems a little better.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. So let's move into the review of the city candidate profile text. Dom, is there anything you'd like to say about this version?
It's an updated draft based on our discussion last time. Most of the action is in desired characteristics, which will be pulled out as a text box, and priority initiatives for the new manager. And so I would direct most of our conversation to that section, those sections, and open it up for comments.
I thought the desired characteristics were great. I thought they really captured what we had talked about. I sent you a few little tweaky things associated with the priority initiatives. You had asked for a little additional language for the third bullet item.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that what I sent Dom says now reads infrastructure continue to plan and assemble resources to invest in streets, water and wastewater improvements, and capital investment in equipment and facilities. Just to expand that.
Yeah, I thought they were great, Carol. I just didn't get a chance to send it around an updated draft to folks.
And most everything else I sent you didn't make any changes in anything other than it annoys me when the same word is used twice in the same sentence. So
Sure. Yeah. So, I think we might be getting pretty close to move to design and looking at it again. This isn't your final chance to offer suggestions or tweaks, but the designers are on standby, and they're beginning to rough it out. And so If you want me to take another cut at some language, I'm happy to do so. If not, I would send this over to them and try to get you another draft. I think we had talked about next Thursday in a week.
The only other note that I had put in what I sent back to you, Dom, and to Amanda was under the compensation and qualifications where we have the line that says city residency is not required. And reasonable proximity to Barre is important, blah, blah, blah. And my only concern with that is that our charter specifically says that the manager has to be a resident, but also that the council can waive that requirement. And I feel like that's more along the lines that we put in the job description. And this feels a little more open-ended, and any good candidate is going to read our charter and feel like this potentially conflicts with our charter language. And so I didn't know whether maybe it should be flipped or mirror the language that's in the job description, just something that was a little more consistent.
You can flip it. My advice would be, though, to leave it as it is because the charter says it's not required, but you need council permission.
I'm gonna be honest, Dom, I think
Yeah.
council permission is gonna be a tricky road.
Really?
Because this has come up repeatedly in the past, and generally speaking, the consensus has been that we would prefer it remain a requirement. And I know Carol can speak to long conversations over a long time. I think it's probably more faithful to the real spirit of the possibility to say that city residency is required by charter, but may be waived by council or something like that. I understand that it would be slightly more flexible, the language that you have in there, but I don't want to lead anyone on.
So that's a totally different kettle of fish. The city of Barre wants their manager in the city if at all possible.
I can't speak for everyone.
But that's your sense, is that's where the council's at? They want their.
I
Yeah.
think so.
Yeah.
I would have to do a more recent poll, but I know that there was some conversation about this
Yeah.
when we first started drafting the job description, and the language in there reflects sort of the consensus at that time. I know that we had this, well, I wasn't on council, but I know the council had this conversation we hired previously. And I guess Carol can speak to it. It's been a conversation over a number of years.
The conversations that I was referring to, Amanda, were more along the lines of things that I've heard from residents, taxpayers. How dare he take a salary from us and not contribute to the community by paying taxes to the community? And just looking at the actual language in the charter, it says at the time of their appointment, they need not be a resident, but during their tenure in office, they may reside outside of the city only with approval of the council. And so I think leaving the door open is important. And I think that an argument can be made. That's why the language, there is language in the job description. But I think by leading with this sentence, by saying while city residency is not required, I think that that's a little disingenuous to what the charter actually says.
I completely agree. Most communities are in the opposite direction, right? Most communities, the charter allows them to waive it, and the select board or the council has waived it for every manager for the last 20 years, right? And so, but if there continues to be a strong preference and it's a conversation point, I completely agree. So I'll make that change.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious, Carol, if it's ever been waived in Barre City, not my knowledge.
I'm not aware of it ever having been waived in Barre City, but we did, and I'll need to look at, I know that we allowed slightly softer language in the job description. So we might want that, we might want this language to sort of echo that.
I would agree with that.
We don't need to say anything at all.
Also true.
And unless you guys really want to say something, I'm not sure you should say anything at all and allow it to be a discussion point. Like this has got a nice salary on it. There's a lot of folks who are starting to look around, as Phil Scott seems to be maybe having one more term. You're really commutable from a lot of places, right? And so, but you want to have that conversation between the council and a real candidate. Our job is to get the pool as large as possible. That's why that line is in there, You want somebody that lives in Randolph and has been commuting to work for the state to say, yeah, I could do that. You want somebody that's, working in another community that's a half an hour away to throw their hat into the ring. So I'd say
Yeah, what we have in the job descriptions is pretty cut and dried. It says the city charter requires the manager to reside in the city. This provision can be waived by the council and will be subject to negotiation with the successful candidate. So I think, your suggestion of perhaps removing that language or referencing what's in the job description makes the most sense.
I think removing it is a perfectly fine compromise, and that is a point we make with anyone who reaches the interview stage, if they don't already have it in mind.
I concur.
You may,
I think that's the appropriate move.
yeah, taking it out is they can look at the charter and figure it out for themselves if they want to, but like we're gonna try to get the biggest pool we can, keep it out and let them find it out for themselves or negotiate it during their interviews.
Okay. Amanda, I think you're muted.
Yep, sorry about that. There's a couple of other highlight spots. One other is that choosing group BRC. That's in the current contract. I don't see any reason we wouldn't offer it in a new contract, so I think that's fine to leave it in if that was your question.
We need to scrub that a little bit, I think.
Okay.
I know that is in the current contract. I connected with Nicholas a little bit, and he gave me the impression that when he got to Veemers, he's in C. When he got to Veemers, he didn't have a choice. He was directed to C. And so the way, defined benefit pension plans work is positions are classified. Managers, because there's only one person in the position, it's sometimes a little bit different, but so you can reclassify the position, but generally once it gets to C, I think it'd be hard to go to B. So I'd be inclined just to move it to C.
I think that's the way it is because we had that issue because we had a couple people, non-union staff members that got hired as B, but we had to move them to C. So Jeannie probably could answer the question, but I think we all the non-union employees have to be in group C.
Okay.
Yep. That makes sense to move it just to C then.
Yeah. Okay. Any other things that caught your eye? Okay. If there are none, and you can continue to email me and call me, etc., I will advance it to the next level and we can see how the final language looks when it's all mocked up. Sometimes people see different things when the language gets broken out. So sometimes the designers, in their efforts to make it to look good, will cut a sentence or something on me. So, Carol, I'm counting on you to continue to be the eagle eye.
Until I just drive everybody nuts.
Yeah.
All right, I think we can officially consider this approved and on to design, Tom. I don't think we need to make a motion or take a vote for that since obviously we still have a final review coming up. And just to clarify, the plan is to take a look at the design next, and we'll email it directly to the committee for review next Thursday.
Yeah, if I have it, I'll send it and we can talk.
Okay.
It's summer. But that'll be the goal.
All right, we don't currently have a meeting planned for next Thursday, so what I would ask is that folks respond individually directly to Dom with their review of the design. And Dom, you and I can connect sort of separately, and if there's no substantive feedback, I think we can consider it good. If there is substantive feedback, we will put it on the agenda for the 23rd.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Great. All right, thank you, everyone. Moving to our next agenda item, which is a review of phase 2 public outreach. To start off the discussion with that, I would ask everyone if there was anything from our phase 1, any method of outreach that they thought was particularly successful that they want to make sure we repeat in phase 2.
Well, certainly the survey had the most participants. So having some kind of similar online opportunity makes sense. And next was, public engagement at the park. So perhaps building on that.
Yeah, I think it would be helpful to know sort of like when we anticipate this phase 2 to start. What's the goal of this, and what was done last time in terms of community engagement for context?
Yeah, last time is when we hired Nicholas.
I'm sorry.
Well,
I
last
didn't
time
hear you.
when we hired Nicholas.
Yep.
Last time it was mostly a survey. We were still in COVID. We weren't doing forums or anything like that. So it was a couple of tiered surveys with specific groups for city committees and sort of volunteers, for staff, and for the general public. They were not, to my memory, although I can double check, substantially different from each other. And there was another one. So I think just to answer briefly the timeline question, Dom has put reviewing resumes to begin August 14 in the city profile. So I would say between today and August 14 is the block of time that we have for this next phase of public outreach.
We also have Heritage Festival to do public outreach. That'll be during this time frame.
And just to reiterate what we had discussed, the first phase, we did the first sort of half of those questions, the first set of questions that dealt with the city itself. The second phase, the goal was to do the second half of the questions that dealt with qualities that people are interested in seeing in a manager from that initial list of John's questions. Just pulling them up here: organizational challenges, leadership and skills, and first year priorities. I'm hearing the survey again. That's not easy to repeat. I'm happy to work with Renita again she was so helpfully designed some of them to be 1 to 5 sections, and we can transform some of these questions into that. I would be curious to hear folks with more lead time if you think we should do an in-person public forum.
I was just sitting here thinking about whether there's any value in that. It almost feels like we've missed, because we were running on such a short timeline, that we missed that opportunity. That would have been a better to roll that out when we were talking about, strengths and challenges in the city, and but to have something that's more focused specifically on the manager's position, I, I don't know whether there would be a heck of a lot of value in it other than the value of inviting people into the room. And there certainly is value in making people feel like they're part of the process. So.
We could also do an in-person that is just about the first year priorities, because that strikes me as a good overlap a little bit with what you were addressing, Carol. The questions there, what should be the top priorities for a new manager the first 6 to 12 months, and what early wins would build trust and momentum?
Yeah. Because we did actually get, particularly with the employee responses to the survey, we already got a lot of these questions answered. But using that particular focus for some kind of a community gathering might be a good idea.
Yeah, we could take a look at these and trim down the questions considerably. I see sort of 4 questions that might suit under leadership and skills. What leadership qualities are essential for the next manager to succeed? What technical and professional skills are important? And the top priorities and the early wins. Those could be the 4 focus questions for this in both an online survey and in a public forum. And just briefly for everyone, just for full disclosure, we are continuing to get people into the waiting room with names that don't make a ton of sense to me. I'm going to operate on the assumption that unless it's a name I know to be credible, they are continued AI bombers. So I just wanted on the disclosure on the open meeting here that I am not letting them in unless they look like legitimate humans. How does that sound as a path? Those 4 questions, and then trying a public forum with more advance notice with those 4 questions.
I like that. I think we do have to have a public forum, because if we don't, then no doubt people will complain that we didn't, even though they might not show up, but they will complain.
All right, I am going to let Jeannie back in.
Yeah, she's a real person. Looking ahead, we could do one on Thursday, July 30th. Oh, no, we can't. I'm sorry. I'll be in North Hero then. How about Thursday, August 6th? That gives us a decent chunk of time to let folks know about it. It still gives us a week to report everything back to Dom, or to sort of digest everything ahead of review of resumes.
I'm not available that day, but don't let me hold it up.
That date works for me.
All right. Unless there are different or alternative suggestions, I would propose a similar pattern to what we did last time, which is that reserve the Washington room, the Alumni Hall, advertise it. I could whip up a new version of the flyer and make sure. Tracy, I've been ruminating on the Heritage Festival opportunity, and I think just making sure that it's liberally flyered with the opportunities might be the path to go, rather than add any work to anyone's plate for that weekend, unless someone has different ideas for
I think that makes sense.
Tracy's probably available, right?
Yeah, I'll probably just be sitting there with my twiddling my thumbs in the gazebo.
Nothing else to do.
I'll just call Brian. He can help me.
Yeah. Get 12 thumbs too.
Also a famously under. All right, Dom, I guess I would ask contextually, we've done a bunch of public outreach with sort of mixed success across the ways. We're doing phase 2 now. Is there anything else in this public outreach plan so far that you see as missing?
No, you guys are going above and beyond, honestly. So, I think it's great, and hopefully it'll set the new manager up for success.
Great. I would
Well,
add, Josh.
I think
Sorry,
what's
go ahead.
important, well, I was just going to say, I reflect on what we've done for the profile and those materials, and I think, in my opinion, one of the things that came out of the outreach we've done so far is the focus on technology. I mean, that's something that really came from other people, came from employees, came from, and so I think that we can point at that and say the public outreach has been successful. And so it's worth, even if that's the only thing we plucked out of one thing, it's worth doing. And like I said before, the most important thing is to be able to say to the community, you've been invited to the table. So
Yeah, I just want to throw out there also, we did survey employees of the city, but a demographic that we didn't really focus on was members of committees and boards. And I think maybe trying to include them somehow in this second phase would be valuable because they're not city staff, but they are residents of the city, so their perspective would be valuable.
Yeah, fully agree. Thank you. I've just made a note to make sure that they get a direct ask. The city has them sort of all set up in an email group already. And I was reflecting on your earlier question, Josh, about what else did we do last time. The last piece of public outreach that we did last time was we had day-long public days for both of our finalist candidates. And we can certainly talk about that going forward. I completely understand that there are very mixed feelings about those for candidates, and that can put them in a vulnerable position. But I do think it was an enormously valuable part of the process last time. So that could be sort of our phase 3 final effort.
Amanda, you're talking about when you have candidates touring them?
Yeah, last time each candidate, it's been a full day. They toured a public works project. They both toured the same public works project. It was a street sewer line repair. They each chose sort of what they wanted to do. One candidate went to a classroom and one candidate toured the wastewater treatment plant. They each had an hour-long lunch with the mayor. They each had an hour-long sit down with city staff. They each had an hour-long sort of public drop-in period. There was at least an hour, I think it was more like a 2 hour with the council, and then they did a public presentation at the council meeting that night. We gave them, I believe, 3 different topics they could prepare a presentation on and pitch an idea. I'm sure I still have the PowerPoint somewhere. And then that sort of feedback from that we continued to gather as a committee. In addition, they also spent sort of a fair amount of quality time with members of the committee who helped move them. Tracy, you did a bunch of that, helped with a bunch of that as well, who moved them from place to place. Tracy, is there anything I'm forgetting from those days? They were whirlwinds.
Yeah, I brought them, I did a little tour of the city. I think I brought them to talk to some different business owners. Well, we were there, but I think you got everything else. The meetings with the mayor, the city staff. So, yeah.
yeah, the city staff thing was pretty much limited to department heads.
So that would be a departure of the way the league usually does it. And if you want to do that, we're going to need to coordinate closely about that choice and inform candidates. And I will try to not emphasize, arguably there's a apply in confidence provision, which is pretty standard. But we're going to want to be sure that folks have the choice to opt out before they do that.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And we lost one finalist candidate last time.
Yeah.
When they chose not to do that. Um, there's certainly versions of that we can do, and we can continue to have that conversation as a committee, but it really, I think it was what made us both secure and confident in our final choice, was having that day-long interview.
Yeah, I think that day actually changed my mind, like once I met Nicholas in person.
So that was like a third round after the council, or that was part of the council's
It was
round?
the council's round, basically.
Okay. Some of that depends on who's in the pool. Somebody like Nicholas, at the point that he was at in his career, is very differently situated than a sitting manager. And your need to do it reflects some of that as well. So let's, if we can keep that open to as a choice item. As we get a little,
I think we should keep it flexible. I'll tell you that the person who dropped out was a city manager.
yeah,
So that made sense. I think they had also like decided even before because we were clear from first round interviews. I think they had decided early, or so they knew early on. So I don't know how much that was a factor as much as it was staying in position.
yeah,
But
yeah. Did you get any press?
oh yeah. I think Dave Delcor was in the background somewhere the whole day.
Okay.
I don't know, for whatever reason, the press also reported on every single city manager search committee. Every single one. So far, not quite the same.
Okay.
Well, he's been busy covering, Northfield and now Waterbury and, so,
Washington Central.
yeah,
It's been a busy news cycle in many communities in Central Vermont.
yes. The imploding police department in Montpelier. They've got other things to be covering right now, so.
Yeah, I would expect though more attention once we move to interview rounds.
Say that sentence again, Amanda. You broke up a little bit.
I'm sorry. I would expect a great deal more attention once we move into interview rounds.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So let's put a pin in that as a future conversation. I think there are certainly maybe flexible compromises that gets us what we found valuable out of those days, but still does. There may be some options that still maintain that privacy.
Okay. Sounds good. I mean, this is a topic for our next when all the resumes come in. But what I'm hearing, and you say that, is that we would do the first round with this committee in executive session. And then as we talk about the second session with the city council, how to structure that, we would circle back to this and how much level of full public transparency you want to have. Is that what you're thinking?
I think so. It's
Okay.
about what we did last time.
Yeah.
We recommended on I think 4 or 5 finalists to city council. They winnowed it down to the 2 that they had.
Okay. Cool. As we see who's in the pool, we might want to also run some parallel tracks. There's a number of manager searches going right now, and these all have a shelf life, and we're going to want to, if you get 1 or 2 that are heads and tails above the rest, we're going to want to move swiftly.
I think we have plenty of flexibility to do that. I think council is poised and ready to move as soon as we do. And I would ask everyone in the committee to keep that late August, unfortunately, for our summer vacation plans, keep that fairly open and flexible. The last time when we did the first interview rounds, we scheduled it whenever we could. We jumped all sorts of outside of our normal committee slot. And I would expect that we could do something like that again today. Not everyone was at every interview. That is fine, just as long as we're in quorum. just plan and communicate carefully about that.
Okay.
So Dom, I would then, that leads me to timeline conversation, to say that we would be looking at those first rounds the last 2 weeks of August. And as you say, running parallel tracks. If there's someone you're like, oh my God, I can't believe they applied, you have to move them onto council immediately. Let us know. It's easier this time because I'm on council. Last time I had to jump hoops every time I wanted to do that, but this time I can simply sort of bring that to council's attention, put it on an agenda quickly.
Cool. All right, let me, I've got a design call at 5:15. Let me hop over to that, and if that works for you all, unless there's anything else, but then try to get you something to consider in a week.
Awesome.
Sounds good. Thanks,
I think we're
Tom.
set on that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Talk soon.
Yep.
Jeannie apologizes. She's been getting booted off, and she keeps trying to get on, but she's having internet problems up there. So she does apologize.
I will loop her in separately if there's anything that she needs to just know. All right, I think that concludes our public outreach agenda. To just recap, I'm going to connect with Renita separately. We will look at those 4 questions, see if there's any useful numbering in the same way that we did the first survey questions to sort of get us at quantitative responses to those questions. We will create that public survey. I will make sure it is explicitly, specifically sent to committee members, city volunteers, and board members. Josh, I would ask you to specifically forward it on, well, Josh and Tracy both, to your boards, because those are not listed under the regular meeting structure. And Tracy, I would ask, I think that probably actually the most successful outreach push was when you sent it out via the partnership. So I would ask you to hopefully do that again. And then we will look at Thursday, August 6th for a public forum. And that our engagement at the Heritage Festival will be that I will recreate the flyer with the updated opportunities for the survey and the public forum. My sense is that those 2 Zoom meetings did not gain as much sort of off-hours participation as we hoped for, and those are probably not repeatable. Useful.
No.
Okay. And we'll focus on those 4 questions. I'll send make sure everyone takes a look at that. All right. Is there anything else on the public engagement phase 2? Alrighty then. Is there anything else? We've left a spot for anything else that comes up on the agenda. I did not put anything into my list.
I just wanted confirm that we don't have a meeting scheduled for next week. However, we may all get a draft layout from design from Dom and offer him some feedback on that. And our next regularly scheduled meeting is the 23rd.
In the interests of moving the process along quickly, if Dom reports to me, so I would ask you to please take a look at that design thing. I'd love to get the design feedback wrapped up. Let's see, he sends it to us by Wednesday. Would love to get it wrapped up by the end of that week. If he and I check in late Friday and he says, I've only heard from people about a misplaced punctuation and things like that, then I think we'll finalize it. If he hears anything substantive, we will schedule it.
Makes sense.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Final chance looking around at all your faces and boxes for another agenda item. All right, hearing and seeing none, I would ask for a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. Or do you want me to say it?
You move, I'll say.
All right, I'll move. I'll move to adjourn.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Hi.
Hi.
Any opposed? None. All right. Thank you very much, everyone. Keep an eye on your email, and otherwise we will see each other in 2 weeks, both at Heritage Festival and in our meeting.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye, all.